Why don't we open the meeting up? Chief Crotty, why don't you lead us off?
Good, you?
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Next.
Alright. Let's look at 7 incident reports, 3 arrests, 2 accidents, 111 citations, 518 calls for service. And state police assisted in 2 calls. You're gonna notice they slow down as it gets colder out, less people out.
Yeah.
They slow down as the roads get worse throughout the year. We are doing our CPR research tonight at the fire department.
Yep.
And miscellaneous 14 hours of training last month.
Miscellaneous was training?
Yeah, it's like online training. For
Okay.
different officers. That's some plan for next year, but we'll get into that when they come.
Okay. Anything out of the ordinary we should know about? We like not out of the ordinary. Even though there were 518, well, those are, as you said, that could be almost anything, calls for service.
We pay attention.
What are 518 calls for service?
So calls for service are anytime, it could be anything from burglary to theft. Anytime the officer does something, you will call for service. So it would be road debris, some vandalism, criminal mischief, anything falls to call for service. So that's us doing work. Call for service could end up being a report, could end up being an arrest, could end up being an accident, but call for service is what starts it.
So you have to go somewhere, do something.
It gets called for service.
Makes sense.
In the summer months, you'll see them typically higher because there's more people out and about. But in the winter, it tends to drop down because there's less people out.
Anything bigger involved with the arrests? They just go to, they get passed on to Concord, or how does that work? I mean, you, 3 arrests, they're not obviously still up at the municipal center, so. the
Oh,
whole
they either
process
get released or they get. Yeah, I think people.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Alrighty. Anything you need from us? Yay! Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Alright, thank you.
Sam, it looks like Chief Gamache may be held up, so you wanna go next? We'll keep us moving along tonight. We got a full agenda.
Front of the page is receivables unpaid listed. It shows the number of invoices and the amount that's due. And on the reverse is the balance sheet for 2024 as of this afternoon. That shows you all the money that we collected versus the balance due on each of those accounts.
Some big numbers there.
So, obviously, we haven't gotten any of the escrow payments for
Yeah.
the second half, and we haven't received any of those big ones, so.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks out from due date, so.
Right.
That's not surprising.
Yeah.
But the 23 invoices for the first half of the year, the $30,000 number are people that are listed at the bottom of the first page. So that's it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Those are the overdue folks.
Yeah.
From the July bill.
Right.
And have you heard any, people coming in paying their bills? Any complaints, any questions?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Questions?
I think so.
Thanks, Sam.
The numbers will look better in January, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Chief.
I love household on one for everyone. Thank you.
Chief,
We
good you?
with that.
Got the chains on tonight, or
What's that?
got the chains on
Yeah.
tonight?
Just about.
Yeah.
Okay, so starting at the top as usual, 372 incidents here to date. Last week we were on the highway 2-3 times. It's probably our most dangerous call that we do. It's just, and not just in Canterbury, just throughout the country, driving enforcement on the highway. So just people's inattention, driving habits have changed. So we were out there 3 times last week. So we're already 30 ahead of last year, so our increases kind of started to average out a little bit, but we're still gonna be about 15-20% ahead of last year. So, just giving you that for information. They don't need anything else, we're managing it and we're making it happen. Close to 200 trainings, inspections and all that stuff, so, we're staying busy on that end as well. I just received, had some conversation today with Dr. Ricks, the EMS director at Concord Hospital, in regards to our member's performance at a recent call on Southwest Road. Basically, they saved the guy's life. Through the assessment and the treatment, he was almost 100% blockage. They rushed him to CMC, and within an hour, the guy had a stent in. And he said if things were recognized and treated any differently, they might have done a vastly different outcome. So he sent that note of acknowledgement to the 3 members who responded. So I have a copy of that here. I can make it for you, but another from Dr. Rick.
So how does that work then if you respond? So how, does Penacook Rescue get involved in that?
So Penacook was out, so Concord sent the ambulance, so it was 3 members from our department and then there was some Concord Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
But our guys got there first?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Harmony Lane, been working on that all summer and they just wrapping up that project, so there's no more restrictions for us going in there. And she sent me a nice email today, I forget her name.
Kim.
Yeah, Kim, and they, thanked us for our efforts in making sure that nothing would be delayed if there's any issues going on here. And here's my contact info, and any further needs, just don't hesitate to reach out, so. We had one call during construction there, but it was at North Harmony Road anyway, so there was no diversion, no needs. Yeah.
Looks like they got in just in time before that big rain, huh?
Yeah.
It's coming out of there like a gusher.
Yeah. So Hall Road self-storage has become an issue again. I spent about an hour and a half yesterday dealing, chasing my tail and dealing with people there because quite frankly, they're not being a good neighbor. We're getting complaints from the police, getting complaints from the neighbors. The vendor next door and crossing the highway and, there was one time at 3 in the morning, the call came in and nobody rolled from Canterbury Fire, so the guys from Concord are gonna come from and chase the buzzer. So anyways, I put some heat on them yesterday and I spent an hour and a half on the phone with them yesterday back and forth playing tag and we mitigated the situation temporarily, but then almost 2 years they've been here, they're mostly all talk and no action.
So this is still their alarms going off all the
They're
time?
on, it's lack of maintenance. That's why I came to you a year ago and asked to be false alarm. So it's gonna be, at the end of the calendar year, I'll populate that. I wonder if I can and see if we can carry on fine, but it's a big company and they're really not, they're telling me what I wanna hear. And that's where it stops. So, they're not being a good neighbor.
Did we throw a chain on the
And they,
unfinished part down there again?
and they are expanding, so, the last conversation with them yesterday, we pitched the alarm system, and they said it would be better going forward, but they've been telling me this for almost 2 years. I'm kind of losing patience a little bit, but we're gonna stay on, turn the heat up on them a little bit, and see if we can make things happen.
Okay, thank you for chasing that down.
And working with, I partnered with the Red Cross and the State Fire Marshal's Office to provide smoke detectors for people in town that don't have them, smoke seal detectors. So I made sure my officers know on any and all medical calls or calls of one of the people's homes, just double check. And if they need them, make the suggestion. If they can't afford them, we have avenues to get them to them for nothing. So, and we'll go install. So in the newsletter coming out, I did probably put my contact information if anybody wants to come and check theirs.
Good, I tried to bump that up in last month's newsletter.
Yeah, I was a day late. Doing it, but.
No, it still went in.
Oh, it's going in. Okay.
It went in the December issue.
Okay.
And it will go in again. And whatever other information you have you want people to know, just send it along, make sure it
Okay,
gets
so
in.
that's good. Just
But it's
to
already
look at this
been
thing
there, yeah.
Because And I forget the exact number, but it's in the high 80s% of people who die in fatal fires across the country, there's no smoke detectors in their house. So, it's a major thing, so.
Yeah.
Now, we have one potential new member working through his application now and interviews, and, this past month, if you walked or drove by the firehouse, you saw a junk car sitting on the front ramp. We, thanks to Rusty's towing, he donated at no charge, delivered and picked it up today. A car that we could practice our jaws of life on and cutting the doors and the roof off. We do a fair amount of time on the highway, so practice makes perfect.
Everything work?
Everything works. Yeah, actually, we broke our windshield cover, so we just purchased a new one, so that's a year money, so. Hose and appliances grant, we're working through that now, that's a $25,000 grant that they got basically for equipment for the new fire truck. Working on that now, some of the pieces and parts are coming in as we speak. I just ordered ID badges for all of our officers, all the officers in the department. They go to your house, perform an inspection, go into a school to perform an inspection. Before this, they had no way of showing people other than them telling them that they were a member of the fire department. You know, so now picture ID, rank, name, and all that stuff is going to be on there. So I'm ordering now. I'm working with Town of Oswald. They have a machine, and working with them. I think they charge me $10 a badge. Very short money, so getting them for all my officers. So,
And if you want to let people know that too, if you see an officer, if you need to, somebody shows up at your door, this is what you look for.
So anytime we go to the schools, we have our badges on.
Yeah.
Herb and I, but I don't have them for my other officers that are participating in community events as well. So we have them now. In the latest update on the fire truck, there's no new news. Still anticipated in the spring of 2026.
Really?
Yeah, it's a 3-year bill. It's a 3-year bill, so probably next March, April, is best case.
It's lucky they're not making cars.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how they sell them. Now the wait is close to 5 years if you were today. And it's $100,000 more than we paid 2 years ago.
We're gonna make some money if we get.
Yeah, I know. We're in a lot of business, I guess.
Maybe they'll be ready for the tricentennial,
Yeah.
roll it out for the parade.
It'll be brand new then.
That's all I have unless you have anything else.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
No, I think that's good, thank you.
Beth, did you have short with the chief about?
Oh, yes, I did have a question because, we do have an application coming in for a property out on Snowshoe Hill Road.
They came across my desk, yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw, cause I was at the Conservation Committee the other night, and we were looking at it, and it says, according to the map, you didn't have a problem with the, let me find with the site, but I didn't know if that meant just by looking at the map, or if you had actually been out there, because it seems like,
I was out there like about a month before, just checking out the area, unknown that there was gonna be a road or driveway put in there. Similar to the Irish Ranch with the Wyven Road. If it's built to those specs, which are the specs that John laid out, I'm good, we can get a fire truck down here.
so you have no reservations regarding the plan if it's built to the specs,
Absolutely.
not the way it is now.
If it's built to the specs that John recommended on basically the way it needs to be built.
Okay, and I'm not exactly sure that that's what it says on your recommendation, it just sounds like, according to the map, it's fine,
Okay.
so I don't know if that
But,
needs to
so
be
I
clarified.
implied that, then maybe I should have written that, it's built to the specs of the Wyven Road.
Yeah,
Or the
that's
specs
what
of-
I was thinking, because the Conservation Commission too said, well, if you're just looking at the map, it looks fine, but, from the people who walked out there, they felt very differently, so I didn't know if you had actually.
But
been out
there was some road specs inside in the application as
Yes.
well, similar to Wyven.
Yes.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I know anything about road specs, that's where I lean on John. And-
Right.
So it's kinda, if it's built to those specs, which was very similar to Wyven Road, I'm fine with it.
Okay, that's just where it wasn't clear to me that the if built to these specs part was in there. Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Thanks.
Anything else? Sure.
Nope.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mrs. Baker,
May I?
come on down.
I don't want to go ahead of everyone here. But thank you, because I have another meeting.
Yes, that's actually,
Thank you for that. Hello. Not much to report. go. Record numbers of circulation and library visiting this year, as you might imagine. We're breaking all sorts of records. I know that Tom Franco has talked to you or will talk to you.
Will be, yeah.
Will be talking to you.
Yeah.
And he just sent me the northeast air sealing estimate for winterizing Alberta's Public Library. So I've just gone through it, I've just received it. I know he's going to be talking with you, but they were great. Northeast Air Sealing came. They were at the library for about 2.5 hours. Very conclusive audit. We've had energy audits before. This is a level 2 energy audit. So that's going to help with any grant writing, and they were really good. They really looked, and kind of, to be perfectly honest, they really listened to me. In terms of like showing them what was there and what wasn't there. So that's to come. Working with Ultra Geothermal, they have submitted a formal bid. I haven't sat down with them to talk about the real prices on that. That will be my 5th bid on a new heating system, so still working on that. Tom had talked about doing a warrant article. I don't
And that's,
see-
excuse me, Rachel, back up, is that the geothermal heating
The
system?
geothermal is the last, most recent bid that I've received.
Okay.
They've sent it to me. I want them to come and explain it to me and the trustees, just so we can understand. You know, a lot of the times, the trustees can understand, or anyone can understand a regular oil burner or, propane burner. But the geothermal is a different ball of wax altogether.
Well, that and, we were just talking to somebody the other night that had issues with theirs, in particularly dry weather, when the aquifer goes down, and how do you deal with that? So if that company, I'm sure they'll talk to you about that, so
Okay,
be
that's
curious
good
to know how that,
So I'm
figures in.
curious, and I'm learning a lot about it. It's obviously a very expensive option. And now the likelihood of me getting, I just don't feel a lot of success coming down the road in terms of sustainable energy plants. I'm not letting that deter me, but it's certainly, I'm upping my efforts, as we should say. And Tom emailed me last week and said, I don't know if you have any money left in the budget, but we need about $20,000, which I thought was, which is cute. I explained that that's really 10% of my budget. So, no, I didn't have that. I probably have about $17 that I'm gonna run into. So he said, let's do a warrant article. Obviously, we're gonna need to talk to the trustees about that, whether, I would like, before I put in a new heating system, I would like to insulate the building. I think that makes the most sense. So that's definitely gotta come before, whether we winterize the building and then get a heating system over the course of a few years, that might be a better option instead of lumping it together. A lot of the other heating companies have done the winterizing with the new heating system. So it's just a lot of numbers to combine.
and you're just at the beginning of the process.
Just beginning.
Okay then.
Just beginning. I mean, just beginning, I've been doing it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
But still, like, not giving it, in addition to running the library.
Yeah.
And learning at the same time, because I don't know about all this stuff. I think I'm gonna hold off on the exterior painting. Every year Ken and I talk about this, and I'm not feeling like, and looking for your feedback on that, I don't feel like the outside of the building looks that bad.
Just the white point,
It's
where
just
it's
the
all
white
kind of,
point. Yeah, when they installed the new acrylic letters, it kind of chipped up, and that's just a matter of me getting up there with a ladder and a bucket paint. And I don't think we need to have the whole exterior, but I definitely think as I'm gearing up for interior renovations, I'm getting close to doing some interior painting. I think I'm gonna wait to 2026 to do some exterior painting. So, unless someone said, no, it looks terrible. And it looks pretty good.
looks good to me.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. You're the one who knows most.
Well, no one has said, like, you know, the new roof helped tremendously. I mean, that really just changed it looks really sharp. I think the building looks really sharp, so. Still waiting for a new bin. I was promised a new, less janky looking bin that hasn't, been received. Any appreciative balloons. Thank you. So
Of what?
the lines,
Oh,
the paving lines.
yes, beautiful line.
Any questions for me?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Sorry, it's all up in the air, but with the energy audit, we'll be talking about.
Well, you
Thanks,
can't get you're just getting those prices anyway,
Just
so,
getting
yeah.
prices.
Okay.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, gentlemen.
Hello to the trustees.
Thank you.
Good job.
Mother Nature's out there, making it slippery.
Yeah.
Dealing with it. Enough room in between to try and fix what we break. Each of the new drivers had their slides, so they should be good for the rest of the winter, I hope. We'll have a new employee starting next week.
Good. It's on my list.
What's his name, Chuck? Or Ken?
Robert Ralph.
Robert Ralph, okay, that's the guy we discussed.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very good.
And Bowden's gonna come for his Christmas break and give us some hours, especially at the dump.
Outstanding. Good.
And speaking of the dump, we shipped out a load of cardboard that went to Swanton, Vermont, and a load of plastic, which went to New York State. Basically no money.
But they took it.
It's gone. It's
Okay.
off the property.
Yeah.
And Dave will reconfigure his storage so we can have myself shipped back.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Any questions for me?
How did plowing go with the last storm? The plowing went okay?
Doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 guys, 5 routes, did everybody divvied it up?
We tried.
Okay, good. Everything looked good.
North end was slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just keep on moving.
alrighty, thank you. Well,
John, while we have you actually, as you know, we've got another matter before the select board tonight on a
Yeah.
class 6 road.
Paying for it.
So I did read through what you had written, and it seemed to me as though you had concerns about being able to do the work correctly and not disturbing the stone walls.
It's not the stone walls. One is you got the steepness
Yeah.
of Snowshoe Hill going right down into a swamp.
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna need to have an engineer for those culverts anyways. There was numerous culverts. There's 3 wetlands crossings, I think. So it's the steepness of that hill and then the wetland crossings.
Would DES take an interest in this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. And that's why the engineer strongly recommended, because they're gonna have to size the culverts.
Yep.
For those crossings.
All right.
but doable? In your-
Is it doable? Sure. Only takes a little. Or a lot.
Yeah.
In this case.
Okay,
And your report really only covers Canterbury, right?
Only Canterbury. I came in from Old Gilmington.
Right, that's,
So you come in Old Gilmington, you meet up with Hancock and Snowshoe Hill, make a hammerhead there for a turnaround.
Yeah.
And then continue down Snowshoe and wherever his driveway's gonna be, make another turnaround like we did on other roads.
Yeah. how's Hancock these days?
I did not, go down there.
Yeah, I went out there in a couple of years, so.
Yeah. I thought about driving out and I realized I hadn't been by Ames yet, so it's like, it's gonna be a long ways and that old Ford pickup truck had enough going down and going to.
Yeah.
And I walked Snowshoe, so I had enough.
You put snowshoes on?
No,
Mm.
no. Did you walk
Just-
that hill?
I did walk the hill. I wanted a rope hitched onto me somewhere.
I'm glad I had my walking stick.
Thanks, John. Anybody else, questions for John?
No.
I guess my question in general would be, with road, I don't remember, did you recommend going through there?
I came in from Old Gilmington, that was the shortest to get there. And the easiest build.
Okay. And in your report, I don't remember, like what width road are you talking about?
18 wide.
18?
When you get your shoulders, you end up with your 20 flat, which is what we try for.
And so with shoulders, 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we got Tom coming in until 6, right? Good. Okay. So you wanna sign some stuff, or what do you think?
So say we can move.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam, why don't you come back on, down and. Now, everybody's got copies of,
I printed, I have one copy,
okay.
that's right there. I did email them to
Yes,
everybody,
I did,
so
yeah.
reading should happen.
All right, here, all,
Read it, and I've got it on my
Okay, very
computer too.
Kent,
Ken,
you're
did you get a
good?
copy?
Okay.
Okay, if I open my computer and look at my copy,
Of course.
just letting people know what I'm doing.
So Sam, I think, we've all had time to look over the pertinent documents, including your letter. I guess, why don't we start off, do you wanna start off by saying anything?
No,
Okay.
it's not, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
sometimes you write a letter and send it, and then you say, oh, I should have included, something else, so,
Letter was pretty.
yeah. Kent, you're the select board rep to the planning board, and I thought I heard you say that you might have accompanied them on the walk?
I didn't, but I wanted to keep my.
Yeah.
Separate, so.
I understand, I went out separately as well. What'd you think?
It's a hellacious hill going down there. You got water, you got the ledge that's encroaching from both sides at the top. If you go down that way, I didn't come up from the bottom. I know it's wet down there. Didn't want to get my feet wet particularly. It's flowing a river right now because of all that rain we had last week.
Yeah.
All those things are solvable in my opinion. It's just, does this applicant have the money and the wherewithal to pull this off?
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion, and I wrote a little letter actually trying to sell my thoughts, but I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't let any class 6 roads be taken away from the town for, I think it should be a good reason. And I don't see denying this applicant as a good enough reason for me to say no. So I'm reluctantly gonna say yes on this particular project.
Okay.
I think there's other tenants that could move in down there, they could share the cost, I think. I don't know, we'll see what Sam wants to do with
Yeah.
it.
And I think of Hancock Road, which turned into a battle between
It was.
the property owners.
And if there were more property owners involved in this, I think it would be better for everybody, because then there's more people watching and understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like the road is 4 feet down from where it was at some point, I would
Yeah.
assume.
It certainly looks that way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I find it hard, after sitting through a conservation commission meeting with the description of the property, and the fact that it's not in conservation easement land, but their concern with the unfragmented, the effect of this on the wildlife and the environment, in the immediate area for, the fact of the wetness of the soil, the water, the wetlands, the wildlife, and then, yes, you could put a road in. It seems like at great expense, but the road itself would change. the environment, not only putting it in, but having it there. So, I find it difficult in the face of both the planning board's reservations and the conservation commission's strong reservations to support it. It seems like it would be easier to come in the other way from everything I hear, though that's not easy either. That's got its own hardships trying to deal with another town and another road agent and everything else, but it seems that's where more of the people are and more of the already disturbed part is from everything I can see.
Right.
Coming this way seems longer, harder, and more impact
Yeah,
on the wildlife.
and I thought I remembered somewhere that at that end, it's marked as private. Anybody else remember seeing that?
That is the Gilmanton end?
I saw that in one of the documents.
That
Well,
is,
that's the same thing up at the head of Wyven Road, too.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
I guess something to bear in mind is that Snowshoe Hill Road comes off of 106, the north end,
Right,
and it splits. And so you've got Snowshoe Hill Road that goes through up the hill to Canterbury.
Yep.
You also have Harmony Lane that is a private road
Right.
that splits off.
Right.
So I read that somewhere too, that there was a private road
Yeah.
sign that I'm not aware of.
so you think it
Familiar
might
with.
just refer to,
Harmony.
Harmony Lane,
Yeah.
correct.
and-
Being a private road, not Snowshoe Hill.
Yeah. And,
Because the Snowshoe Hill Road is a throughway that goes back 1820s, 1810s.
Yeah.
To go connect from northern Canterbury up through to Gilmanton.
And I read that in your letter, but the first thing I thought was a throughway for what kind of traffic? Person on a horse, as
Correct.
opposed to
Yeah.
having to fit a 20-foot wide road and a fire truck through it.
This
Which is-
really owned all that land in Gilmanton, on the Gilmanton side and the Canterbury side. So that was the byways of the whole road from Gilmanton
Right.
through to Canterbury.
Right, then, but now it's, of course, unfragmented wildlife land and,
Well, obviously the two stone walls know where the road was, so
Right.
that has not changed. We're still using those two stone walls as our boundaries.
and the road that you would propose improving would stay within those boundaries.
Correct.
and your intent, Sam, was to come and go via the Canterbury?
And the Canterbury.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody has walked the Gilmanton side.
I didn't, I came in from.
We think the Canterbury side is tough, the Gilmanton side is dealt with tough.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shorter but tougher?
Maybe not even shorter. I don't feel it's shorter, but it's tougher.
Well, I guess it's closer to the Gilmanton line, but that doesn't,
It does not equate to the actual
doesn't
distance
equate,
from
yeah.
Gilmanton to an actual road, south road.
What I couldn't tell actually from the maps, because it does stop at the Gilmanton line, is when you're from that piece of property into Gilmanton, how close is the next property that people are actually,
There's some
Going to.
old Gilmanton roads, all the way down to Harmony Lane.
Right.
It's about equidistant, in my opinion.
so, oh yeah, that's the map I was looking at this afternoon. So if this is your piece of property and this is the Gilmanton line,
Yeah.
the next inhabitants are
Another
up here, like
probably, yeah,
as this far?
close to half a mile down.
So, okay, that makes more sense now. Should you need to see this?
Anything else?
I don't think so. I'm stuck on this one again because of the opinions of the planning board and the conservation. And actually I needed to ask, so the conservation commission was, we asked them for their opinion, they've weighed in.
Yep.
Did you both read that?
Yes.
From Bob and?
Yeah, actually, Cal was good enough to include it, but she was also good enough to email it, so we got that.
And for future, I would think, because it did come up at the meeting, Conservation Commission used to be asked to weigh in on road waivers all the time, I guess. And then it was decided not to, but it seems like in an instance like this, and then maybe future instances, would be worth having them added to the list of fire, police, road agent, conservation. Just as another voice, since we do have a very active Conservation Commission, and that's a strong sentiment in the town that that's a valuable goal. And I don't know how we do that or when we have that conversation, but I just kind of like to note that I think that they should be added.
I think we can talk about it, I think it's between the three of us.
I agree. I mean, I think we reserve the final word.
Yeah,
Certainly.
I just mean that we should, as a matter of course, have them weigh in.
Yeah, they can, render an opinion that we can weigh. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
So I've also got to agree with that I see this as premature and scattered. I don't think it's the right thing. So I'm going to be a no vote as well.
And what does that mean going from here?
That means, I believe you were a no vote.
Yes.
Kent was a yes vote. So that'll be a no on building in a Class 6 road.
On that.
For this application,
Correct. For this
current applications before the board.
Right. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Good night. Thanks, John. I don't think, do we need John for anything else? I don't think so. Or,
But we need a
Big
permission.
yeah. You look like you want to go home, so. Thank you, John, for staying up and answering those questions. John, did you have anything for us, or were you just?
No, I'm here for community power to support.
Very good. Okay. All right, so that's Snowshoe Hill. Gonna sign some stuff, that's all we can, okay? So why don't we start with? We are waiting for
Okay.
Tom, yeah, he's not due for another 25-ish minutes.
Okay.
All right, so first is an accounts payable manifest in the amount of $143,821.70.
So moved.
And second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Oh, is this the new,
Yes, it is.
Payroll.
wow.
Very
Here,
classy.
hand that over.
New
All right.
payroll, same old stamp.
Yeah, so so I have a payroll manifest in the amount of $82,782.26.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor, aye?
That is higher than normal because of the fire department.
Yep.
Payroll,
Yeah.
all of them, so.
Yeah.
And elected officials.
Sorry?
Elected officials, so
Yes,
Selectmen
elected
and
officials.
treasurer.
So,
Did you get paid? Thank you, town voted.
Yes, that's true.
Too.
It's hard to get the checks out.
Thanks, Ben.
Couldn't figure out which perf to tear them all.
They make it a contest.
while can I ask a question?
Sure.
In the middle of this? So while we're doing payroll things, how can we, or can we discuss the new highway employee and what he did or did not accept as far as the offer we made with CEO, training, blah, blah, blah.
He did accept the offer. He is going to, wait the 90-day probationary period, and then we will sign him up for a, CDL class.
Okay, great.
Makes sense.
Is that affecting our plowing or?
We have two F-550s that don't require CDLs, so, not at this time.
We have Roy, let's go down at the
Roy,
circle in that area down
yep,
there.
Roy was using one, and then the new, employee will do the next one.
Great, okay, good. Thank you.
All right, next item, welfare manifest, in the amount of $1,549.25.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
That's the reimbursement check to the treasurer. for the
Oh,
mileage.
okay, yeah,
We asked it, one of the selectmen signed it.
okay. I think I can. We don't need anything on this, do we?
What's that one?
That's for Al, here, I'll let you look it
Oh.
over. Al for reimbursement.
Oh, Miles.
Yeah, and he's got
These
enough documents
things.
in there.
Need to see mileage. Used to hate keeping track of those.
All right, next it looks like a timber tax bill. Was a dispute?
Yes.
Resolved. If we're signing it, I'm assuming it's resolved.
As far as the assessor is concerned, it's resolved.
Okay, good. Well, that's what we need to know.
Okay. So the revised amount then is gonna be $1,759.80, right?
Correct.
Okay. So do we need a motion on,
No.
okay, so just sign,
Just sign it.
okay. And that's where, we're signing where abatement grants.
Correct. There was the property owner pointed out some differences in, costs that are, I guess, stumpage values that are set by the state, I think it's quarterly, and our assessor used, stumpage
Did you sign both
values that
Yes, yes, I think, yep,
had been from a previous quarter, and
gotcha.
when the actual logging was done, the stumpage values were a little bit more.
Okay.
And, so that's why, they assessed the.
Makes sense, yeah.
Cleaned up nice up there afterwards. Up at Marco's, it cleaned up real nice.
Well, I meant to say to John, they did the plowing and they didn't take down the little library on the corner, so that's good. It's still there.
I did talk to the road agent about that, and he didn't feel it was a problem, unless plow hit it, and
Right.
that'll be a problem.
That's a problem.
We treat it the same way as mailboxes.
Apparently.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, and it looks like the final thing to sign is an appointment slip for Ruth Heath to the Energy Committee.
Oh, that comes through, good.
Yeah.
Yes. Did he come in this afternoon? Did he come in this afternoon? Yeah. Oh, good.
All right, that's that. How about minutes from the December 2nd, 2024?
So,
We've got a
I had
couple
three comments.
corrections
Gonna
suggested.
then they
Oh, then move them,
discuss it,
then we'll discuss them.
I think.
That's the way it should be done.
Okay.
Thank you, now I know.
So, okay, line 85, revised Canterbury Shaker Village CSP pilot.
Yep.
Beth said that during this discussion, or at the end of the discussion, the select board asked if the pilot amount would be the same every year, or if that was something negotiated. I watched the video and I couldn't find that.
It's like,
I didn't see it, so
it was right at, I have the timestamp on it too, wait a minute.
okay, but you did see it in the video.
Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately, it's garbled. And basically what it was is as we were signing, I think it was you, Ken, who said, is this the amount for every year?
I did.
And we said, we'll discuss it. So that's all. So I thought it would be important to note that it's not that we had a question about the amounts and that we were discussing further what it would be every year at some future time.
So I can add a new line in here.
Yeah.
That says, something to the effect of, Kent asked about if it's gonna be the same every year, and the three of you decided that you discuss it
In the future.
in the future.
Yep. That's my memory as well, so.
Okay.
The audio on that last video was strange. Is it that
It
it's
was-
picking up?
There was something running that was really loud.
Because we
It sounded
had
like there was a
the
washing
extra-
machine going on at
Yeah.
one point.
We had the extra heater on us.
Oh, that'll do it. Okay.
Second revision is line 117. It says that the solid waste committee displayed a slideshow on TV. Beth suggested changing the word slideshow to PowerPoint presentation about the proposed warrant article. Just because it's more.
They just worked so hard to make a PowerPoint presentation and what it was, and that the content was, yeah.
All right, so I can change that. And then line 173 is item V, which discusses the petition warrant article that's coming. And Beth just suggested moving that down to the bottom of the solid waste committee section so that people don't get confused and think that when it resumes on W, that it's talking about the petition warrant article and not the actual proposed one.
Because it says it sounds like it's referring to the
I got it.
item W,
Yeah.
makes
So
it sound like it's referring, so just swap the order, that's all.
Makes sense.
What line was that?
So that's line 173, V is the,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a petition warrant article, so the suggestion is just to move that down to after Z, so that it's clear that none of W through Z refers to.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, great, then if you wanna vote on it as amended, we're all set.
All right, so I guess a motion to approve as amended.
Second.
All those in favor, right?
Aye,
All right,
thank you.
thank you.
Need to be picky, but,
Nope, it's kind of a forever record, so
Yeah.
it's good to be picky.
well, that's what I figured. Oh, and just as a further notice, so people know, I did, at one point I was going back to look at the videos and I had the closed captioning on because it's easy to scroll through. And in one place, we were talking about something with a value of $2,000 and it came up as $22,000 in the caption. So if you were just scrolling and you didn't listen,
Yeah.
it can give a misleading
I
impression.
think
So
that's AI generated.
I would,
Yes.
and
Right, yeah,
That's Edgar's.
yeah, Edward
Yeah.
would know. Yeah, so,
but I would just caution anybody who's watching the video that if something doesn't seem to make sense, if you're looking at the closed captioning, to actually listen. Because,
if
or
you
read
can,
the minutes too.
yeah.
All three.
Yeah.
Try the three after
You
a
got anything left to say? Right, we'll take Tom and then we can get ready, yeah. Hi, do you guys need a minute to catch your breath, or do you wanna come on down?
I was gonna hook up to the TV.
Go ahead, no comment.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk amongst ourselves.
Just
Yeah,
a couple short
yeah,
ones.
definitely.
So just under new business, it's not on the agenda. The trees behind the municipal building were trimmed by the solar panels.
Oh, yeah.
We had that one that fell down in the summer.
Yep.
And, Brian and Boone went up there on Friday and finished up today. I got a permission from the abutting property owner to trim branches. So he cut everything back to the stone wall, which is the property line. And then took down, there was a couple of big dead ash trees over the property line that he took down, as well as some limbs. So that is all taken care of.
That's pretty good.
Is that sort of around the back side of those?
Right behind the solar panels, those last two solar panels that go. So that's all cleared back to stone wall.
I drove through there to look at it the other night and went right on by it.
Yeah, but it's, well needed, so.
Yep.
That's very good.
Under old business, I got a short one, the gazebo update.
Yep.
The new railings are on. I have an invoice from, Mr. Baker, and I just wanna make sure you guys are okay to pay.
So all the work's been completed and we're satisfied?
Almost all the work.
There's
They're
work
gonna
more to
paint-
go in the spring, yeah.
They're gonna paint this spring the post. They did some scraping and touching up with primer, and then they're gonna repaint the post this spring.
Did he cover anything, to deal with the rot at the bottom of the posts?
There's nothing in the invoice that talks about that.
How about in the original specs though? I thought I remembered something.
Because there is, and we talked about it when I was out, saying hello while they were
Yeah.
working, and actually doing a little scraping, and when you get down to the bottom of the post, they're punky. And he said, oh yeah, we'll take care of that, but it should be listed somewhere, I would think, as opposed to just,
Yeah, we have the specs, top and bottom rail behind balusters, cedar, laminate, regulations to use, exterior waterproof roof, paint 2 coats. All nails and screws stainless. All posts to be scraped, sanded, and painted 2 coats. 7 sections provided, sections by the wall, section, and that's it.
I would ask if we can be so bold, because he did say, oh yeah, and Dale and I both pointed it out to Mr. Baker, and he said, oh yeah, you know, we can take it, I mean, you can't like cut it because of the steel thing that goes up in the middle of the post, but he's very aware of it and sounded like he was going to attend to it, but I would check, please, because it was pretty punky. It'd be kind of a shame to do all this work and then have the bottom of the railings get all.
Is it on the back next to those bushes?
It's all the posts down where I guess the water's been bouncing up from the bricks, the bottom of all those posts. Or several of them, I didn't check them all,
So I
but
have gazebo, okay to pay, rod on bottom of the post, fix in the repair in the spring.
Yeah.
Any additional costs with a question mark?
I would say that would cover it, just ask that he,
Yeah, Ken, okay, buddy?
Yeah.
otherwise it looked great.
Okay, yeah,
They do look nice.
yes it does.
Are you all set for?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
As ready as I'll be. So I asked to come in tonight to talk about the new rate setting for the community power. This is for the period of January or February 2025 to July 2025. And this is kind of the timeline of what's gonna happen. Since this is the 16th, a lot's happening after the 16th.
Yeah.
And so everything that I'm presenting tonight is proposed. So the 19th, they're gonna be setting their rates. On the 20th, their board meets, CPCNH, to set the rates for the PUC. And then in January, or December 31st, CPCNH will send the rates to the PUC. And then in January, the PUC approves the CPCNH rates along with the utility rates. So everybody at that point has proposed, and then in January, it all gets ratified, I guess.
Yeah.
And then in February, the new rates go into effect. So I have a handout for you guys, but right now, this is all I have. Unitil is coming in low, 8.6. Eversource is 8.9. And the co-op is 8.6, pretty much where they were. If we go with Granite Basic, CPC&H is thinking they're gonna be at 8.6 is what they were at in August. And they can't go lower, that's what they're telling me. So with our adder, we're gonna be over Granite Basic, but we're also gonna be over Unitil.
Yeah.
And the co-op, well.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh. Did Unitil come down? How much, what was Unitil at? I don't
They were at
remember.
10.5.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff going on at the utility level where they're trying to risk adjust. And what they're doing is taking a risk on their rates, and it could backfire on them in the next rate setting. Because if their expenses come in higher than the rates they set, they're gonna have to double raise the rates the next time to make up for it.
Oh, there's gonna be a lot of yelling at that.
Yes.
Huh.
So they're competing with us now, but later it might bite them. We don't know.
What's
So-
the committee's feeling about that? To stay with the basic and not do the adder for the moment?
Well, the committee hasn't met on this because I just got all this information today.
Oh, well then.
What we did meet on was the wording that we gave in the letter. I don't know if Cal, if you gave everyone, I have a
I
copy,
did
I can
email
put it
that.
up too.
And I think I put a copy in
In this
the
one?
appointments folder, there's a yellow manila folder, not a yellow manila, there's a yellow folder.
So what I would be asking tonight is for you guys to approve that wording, which I gave you two choices, on what to do, or, come up with different wording. And our committee kind of approved those two choices. But I can put it up and talk about it. Let me see.
When did you send that to us, Cal, please?
Uh,
Oh, here it is. Thanks.
Let me see
Canterbury
if I
letter
can
about the
pull this
rates.
up. Basically, I'll explain it. This part down here, the discretionary reserve adder, let me see if I can blow this up. Where the heck is
Just hit control on the keyboard and then scroll.
What is it?
Control and then scroll back. The other way.
There we go. Good. Thanks. So for the discretionary reserve adder, it's basically keep it at either 2 cents or 4 cents. I have 4 cents in here, but that would put us over in this term, this 6-month term. The other wording is we would set it to 4 cents, but if we're above the default rate on Unitil or Eversource, it would keep dropping down until it's 0. So if we can't get below and keep an adder, the adder would go to 0.
Right.
Okay. Automatically.
Yes.
I thought I remembered when we set this up, it had to always be the lowest rate. I know it's been a couple of years now.
So while you're wrapping your heads around that, I want to talk about,
Yeah, because this is the first time we've run into this.
yeah,
Where the,
and I think it's because the utilities are trying to play competitive with CPC and H.
yeah,
And, you know, the way they're doing it, everyone thinks it's gonna backfire, but we'll see.
How long before you know? A year?
It'll just be 1 6-month
1
period.
6-month period?
And if they
Okay.
can't make ends meet with the rate they set, then they're gonna have to make up for it in the next period.
anybody want to look at the documents?
No, thanks, I have it here. Do you need it, Ken?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we've done what we set out to do, which is get the rates down.
Yeah,
It's just coming to get a little closer is all it is.
Right.
And it has the possibility to still be a lot lower if they gamble badly.
Right.
So does that mean everybody has to opt out of our rates, or how? does
If
that
we
work?
kept it at 8.8, then they would have to opt out and go to Granite Basic.
Okay, yeah.
If
Or
they
go to
want
the
to.
default rate, which is 8 points, they'll both be 8.6, basically.
right.
But we would have to, at that point, we would need to do a lot of, public information about that, as opposed to just letting people say, oh, yeah, in their bill.
Right.
Okay.
So the ripple effect of this is, we were proposing to use the adder to pay for a bond, but if we can't count on an adder, then we
Right.
can't count on payments for a bond.
Right.
Right.
So it all kind of hangs.
And so if we just say, well, we'll wait until we do have an adder that adds up to some amount of money to do a project, we could be waiting 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the amount of money we would need to do a project that covers the electric bill for the town buildings. Because we're making about $1,000 a month right now on 0.2 cents on the adder.
But as you say, you might know fairly soon, well, you'll only know every 6 months if that adder is going to be something we can count on for that 6-month period?
It would all come out within a year, I would say.
Okay.
Whether the utilities took too big of a gamble for them, and they have to adjust it in later periods. But in either case, if we don't fix the adder, then we can't count on it for a bond.
Right.
And so, I mean, the goal of all of this was to have a Canterbury basic that was less than the utility rate. So we're like juggling
Yeah.
multiple things.
Well, who would have thought the utility would want to play?
That's right.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, Eversource was still lower by 3 cents or 0.3 cents.
Right.
And the co-op hasn't changed, so we're at the same price as the co-op now.
Right.
Well, if we're not any worse than the utilities, and
Well, we would be worse with the
with the
adder,
adder,
even
but
the
if-
0.2.
yeah, if we stayed with Granite Basic and we're the same, still people have saved a lot of money up till this point, and there's still the opportunity that they could continue to, depending on what.
Right. Well, we've been at Canterbury Basic.
Yeah.
So we've been doing, what, 6 months' time, I think?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Um,
So,
If you don't think about what what we were relying on for the adder to do for us and just kept it at the basic, then
yeah,
the town is still, I mean, they're no worse,
agreed,
and
right.
they could still be better.
Yeah.
But, ooh,
You didn't have a good day, did you?
No.
no, I'm so sorry, so sorry. What do we need to decide tonight, or is this just for our information and
Well-
we meet and?
I think because you guys are not meeting again this year, we have to have that letter in by the 31st, signed. So I printed out 2, one with each choice. And so it's really up to you, really, to decide which choice you want to go with. And in fact, the wording is, the wording on this one's probably wrong because I said 0.4 cents. And the wording on this one starts at 0.4 but can go to 0.
If you need to send me a revision, I can get them in the office to sign it.
Okay.
They just have to discuss and decide.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's really looking at the discretionary reserve adders verbiage and deciding what you want. You might want something else besides what I wrote here. And I got help on this from CPC and H.
Yeah.
And Howie. I reviewed it with Howie today.
I was gonna ask you how he said anything.
I did.
Well, that's good.
He's in the Bahamas. but he called me.
That's the only copy of the two of the letters? Okay. Did you want to read this? Yeah. I've got one on my phone, but I don't have both.
Yeah.
It's easier to read on paper anyway.
I think that's,
Able to find anything? Yeah,
I think
we
we
have
have to
so
go back
many
to selectmen.
meetings, I know.
I don't see anything in any of the flyers or
Yeah.
anything like that that I could find.
Can you
I
search
think
minutes
that's-
while you're here, Cal, or is that what you're looking for? What might we have to look for, what would the wording be that Cal could search, because she can search draft minutes?
Question.
Right. I remember Howie talking about, a trigger if the, if our rate was more than
So
Utility.
the
the one
utility
from,
rates.
I mean, like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
That was- Okay,
Yeah.
I can find that.
And there was an action that triggered. And I think the action is we have to be lower if we can. And I think we can by going with just the Granite basic.
right.
And then I think I remember there was also something about if we can't, then there's another action that happens. And that's,
So
I think it's,
we had 2 meetings about this, because we had
Yep.
one, the regular meeting and then.
that's
and that-
correct, I remember that, yeah.
So I've got the minutes.
Okay.
if you want. It's, and
is
what's,
there,
what's
find
specific?
something about a trigger if we're
Search the word trigger, that's always the scary word to
lower
look
than,
Yeah.
or higher than utility.
Right.
What's the date of the second meeting?
It's 6/17 and 6/26, so it's June.
Fooling computers and phones.
And how rates,
It would be a hard sell to.
I'm
Well,
not sure how to
Well,
search
that's-
for it.
It's,
If
I mean,
maybe
I'm in the,
more.
I'm in the thing, we could just read through it, so.
Yeah.
Here, read all of it. Alright, so this is the 6/17 meeting, decided on default energy service,
Very basic plan would result in any increase that would be in the minutes, full cents. Including the added rate must come in below the default energy service rates of Eversource, Unitil, New Hampshire Electric Co-op.
So we have to go with Granite basic.
What meeting was that, Cal?
June 17th,
June 17th.
it is section 4. 4CII.
Yeah, and my memory, Tom, is we were able to go with the adder because we were so far
So
under.
far as that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I think what we need to do for tonight is go with Granite Basic and then 6 months from now, see what the utilities, whether for them the experiment failed or it worked.
Well, the wording I put in would put us equal to Granite Basic, right? It basically goes low enough to zero out the adder. And
Right.
basically leaves everyone on the default Canterbury Basic, but it's equal to Granite Basic.
You're awesome.
Because we're over,
Yes.
we'll start subtracting the adder until it's zero. And basically when it's zero, Canterbury Basic is equal to Granite Basic.
Okay. I guess I'm confused. What's the difference between going tonight just to Granite Basic
So you wanna switch that to the default.
for the next 6
You want
month
Granite
period?
Basic to
Yeah.
be the default, not Canterbury Basic, not the,
Right.
right, okay.
And so I could leave Canterbury Basic with the 2 cent adder,
Yeah,
2.2 adder.
yeah.
But
And
it's not
people
the
could
default.
opt into
Well,
that.
up,
Right.
Yeah.
And some do. I don't think there's been a large. Yeah, because we need. I can't remember how we
What's
did it.
the default now is Canterbury Basic? So does,
Yes.
Correct.
so if we leave that the same and make our default
Granite Basic.
Granite Basic, does that automatically switch everybody? Or do they have to start opting
They automatically switch, I
Okay.
think, to the default rate.
to the default rate?
And then
Okay.
they could opt out.
Yeah, they could opt to a
Right, to
different.
Canterbury Basic, Granite Plus, Clean 50, and a Clean Out.
All right. I think we still would have to explain that, a lot of explaining to people about why all this, what the heck we're doing here.
Well, I think the explanation is that this is cheaper than the utilities.
Yeah,
So,
Not by much.
not by
A
much,
little
right,
for the
but
moment.
it is, yeah. All right, questions, comments, anything?
No.
Otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we
I have
grant basic.
question.
Okay.
If someone opts up to Granite Plus, Clean 50 or Clean 100, is that 2 mil adder? Is that adder
That
included in
wasn't
that?
in there. I'd like it to be, but it's
I would
not.
think that that would be included in
Right,
that, right?
it's not. We never voted on that. But
We
it would
being
think
our
that
committee
you're
would think
moving
that
up,
would be the
that
way,
the adders
yeah.
on those
Yeah.
too. There's not that many people in those.
No,
Right.
but, yeah.
It would help.
Yeah,
So do we need to, just thinking about so, I'm sorry, what are we doing, just so I'm clear? We are going to.
so we're still deciding, but
Okay.
my motion is going to be for Granite Basic. And Tom's suggestion, I think he's right, is that we leave Canterbury Basic as is with a 2 mil adder, still Tom? So we leave that as an option for residents who wish to opt out.
Okay. So the default for the town
Would
would
be-
be Granite Basic,
Correct.
okay, and then Canterbury Basic. So
Still available,
still available, and does that have that will keep the 2 mil adder?
Yeah.
Okay,
correct.
And I think everything above it should have the 2 mil adder too.
so basically if somebody wanted to opt up, they're just adding a little bit out of the goodness of their heart to the town coffers to use
Right.
for future energy products,
Right.
projects. Okay,
Sounds good to me.
I think that's,
Motion, correct? Yeah.
So are we
Alright.
voting on are you also voting?
No,
on-
actually, I was going to, well, we don't know yet the Granite Plus. When
We
we
don't know those rates.
Yeah.
I'll have them Friday.
can be,
The proposed
You can-
rates Friday.
You can vote on Granite Basic, right?
yeah. And then,
And according to the minutes, that's really what you should do.
yeah, okay. All right, and then at some point though, we need to, it'd be nice to know the rates for the rest of them.
Well, I'll modify the letter, get it to Cal with the new rates.
Yeah.
I could do that and have them she'll have them by Friday, but
Yeah,
I can get you guys in on Monday.
yeah, as long as it's signed by the end of the year.
yeah, okay,
Can you guys all come by on Monday, maybe decide?
yes,
yes,
if it's Monday before like 1 o'clock, I can, then I'm out of town.
yeah, that'd be the first thing.
But
Okay,
What date's that?
Monday.
Third.
yeah,
The third,
23rd,
oh, 23rd.
23rd of December.
If you come to the Christmas party, I will
Right.
There we go.
Come to the Christmas
enforce
party.
you to sign it.
And she'll bring a few other things. and-
Right, there'll be other things there.
What a Christmas present, signing
That's
the,
Right.
okay, no, that,
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that the rate be Canterbury Basic,
default rate,
yep, as the default rate.
okay.
Granite Basic.
Grand Basin,
What did I say?
Canterbury.
All right,
For the
Granite
dates of-
Basic. I'll make the motion that Granite Basic is the default rate for the next 6 month period.
Second.
All those in favor?
Ah,
Aye. Granite Basic it is.
do we, and if you want to say anything to the population of Canterbury, newsletter will still be in publication. Send me
Yeah.
something.
As soon as I have the real proposed rates for all the categories,
Yeah.
then we'll publish in the newsletter,
Okay.
put it on the website.
But it's probably going to go to the printer on Monday as I go out of town.
Yeah,
So if you had them and you got them to me this
I
weekend,
won't have them until Friday.
I'm gonna be working on this all weekend, so.
Email you on
Yeah.
Saturday?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine,
there you
I'll
go.
I'll leave a,
Okay.
matter of fact, I'll make a note to myself that to look for it. If I don't see it this weekend, I won't say anything
Okay.
about that.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom and Cheryl.
Yeah, and everybody, John.
You gotta.
Most of them.
Warrant articles.
Oh, yeah,
Well, this kind of cancels the warrant articles
okay. I know,
because
Just
you
because it's
don't.
on the agenda, we should have some kind of discussion.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because we can't guarantee the default rate amounts. There's no sense in doing a warrant article.
Okay. So unfortunately, I think we'll just have to table that really till next year.
Yeah.
And hopefully in 6
Disappointing.
months, the things will look differently.
Yeah.
And we can talk about, doing the Canterbury basic again. So,
All right.
thank you both, thank you all.
Tom, you've got the address for the newsletter, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Makes sense. I know. Really.
Where do you wanna go next? New business?
Business.
Yep.
Healthcare costs.
Yep.
So we got the healthcare costs, as you know, we switched, to a, the local cost. One of the things we discussed at the last budget meeting was that we have been funding healthcare for town employees at the actual rate that we, have because of the employees, which plan they're choosing.
Yep.
And that there's certainly potential at any time during the year for those numbers to change. Whether somebody's, personal life changes and they have to take insurance versus a payout, or vice versa, or if we get a new employee that wants insurance, we never put any kind of cushion in. So, we've got all the numbers, and Cal has worked up some numbers, what the town costs are, what the employee costs are, if everybody took a buyout, and if everybody took a family plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
At this point, the town costs, for 2025 are going to be $137,422. If everyone took the family plan, we'd be at $175,895. So, when we meet with the budget committee in January, what I think we should propose is somewhere between those two numbers to give us some kind of cushion. And I'll go through the numbers and come up with either a percentage or something that sounds, reasonable across all departments. So everybody has every department has some kind of cushion in there.
Makes sense.
In their healthcare costs. So that's that part of it. The other part is, when we got the rate proposals from interlocal trust, I created a spreadsheet. I think everybody saw the spreadsheet. That spreadsheet, unfortunately, was incorrect. I looked at the wrong plan when I was creating the spreadsheet for the deductible plan. So consequently, the plan that our employees signed up for was a little more expensive than the plan I had on the rate sheet, on that spreadsheet that I had given. And we had sent that spreadsheet out to all the employees. That's all they had for information.
No.
At this point, the town is gonna be on the hook for $6,700.
What do you
that was
mean
my
on the hook
mistake.
for?
Pardon me?
What do you mean when you say on the hook for?
The plan that we told the employees the costs
Oh, okay,
are actually higher than what we told the employees.
okay,
So the town's portion is actually, if the plans that the employees chose, they chose it based on a lower rate that was on that spreadsheet.
Okay.
So, the town is actually, we're $6,700 shy of what we should be. And instead of going back to the employees and saying, because of the cost sharing portion of it, this is what it's gonna cost you more than what you were told when we gave out the spreadsheet, then I think the town should pick that up. But it's my fault, it's a mistake on my part. Again, it's $6,700 that is we're lacking. Unless you wanna go back to the employees and say, this is how much it's gonna cost.
What's the difference to an employee? I mean, that's 6,700.
2% of what their cost would be, what their cost share is.
Their costs with the new numbers will be 2% higher?
Would be 2%
Okay.
higher, correct.
So do we need to vote on this with the?
No, I mean, this is something that you guys say, this is my mistake, and you guys can decide on what to do.
Yeah.
Whether you.
So certainly for me, I think that we just take responsibility, cover the 6,700 for this year, give them fair notice in the future, and leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'm on with that.
And I will say, the good news of this is, we are still paying less than we paid last year.
Yeah.
So.
But I think, especially these days in terms of retention,
That's where I kind of fell.
If we can make the numbers work, we could do it and going forward say, oops, we'll cover it this year, our mistake, but with full,
Town administrator would much better next year.
no Christmas fruitcake for you.
Right.
But
Darn.
so long as they know that what the real true costs are gonna be for the following year,
right, and give them,
Well,
plenty
and
of
I mean,
notice.
we will certainly say that we made a mistake, these are the real costs. The town is not going to change that on your cost share.
Right.
But
This
next year,
Yeah.
on 2025.
Yeah.
We don't know what's gonna happen in 2026 anyway,
Right.
so that's gonna be a whole new ball of
Yeah.
wax.
I think that's a fair solution, so.
That's it on the healthcare.
All right.
Fee schedule.
Yep.
So you have in your packet a proposed fee schedule. The planning board is proposing changing their fees. The board of selectmen are the ones that set all fees
Yeah.
for all committees, departments, whatever. You do it based on the recommendations of those boards, committees, and departments. You can change the fee schedule at any time. There's no set time for you to make changes in these. These proposed changes came from, I think, Kent, you guys talked about the planning board.
Yeah.
Looked at other fees from the different towns.
Yeah.
And that's where these proposals came up.
Okay.
One of the things that we're going to do is, on our new website, we are going to have one place on the website where there's all town fees, instead of in different places.
Yeah.
So whether it's the planning board, the ZBA, the building inspector, fire department, police department, whatever, everything is going to be in one place on the new website. And we'll have this posted in a spot in the hallway for anybody coming in for an application.
Amazing how many there are.
There's actually a bunch on that didn't make it onto this
Yeah.
road,
Right.
so I found out about it.
Wow.
The only other change on here, proposed change, is assessing. Mandy went and double checked the numbers. So that's the only other section that has differences, so
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yep.
I didn't tell you about that
Yeah.
earlier.
The assessing section has some proposed changes.
And those are because it was $20 flat for all of them. In reality, this is just paying for the fees for the registry, Merrimack County registry fees, plus $1 for postage and printing costs. So that's where the 17, 25, and 17 came from.
Okay,
Because that's the registry's fees plus $1 for postage.
gotcha.
Town clerk's got a lot of them here, doesn't he?
Mhm.
Lucky I got my dog neutered.
So, I get confused when I turn over the page, so for assessing, $20 is what 17 is what it is now, and they're proposing 20? Or the other way around? So it's going down?
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. I thought that was the case, I thought fees never go down, so I can't be thinking about that right, okay,
I guess in a few cases.
good.
We need to vote on these, or?
Mm-hmm.
That's no. All right, so for the planning board where it says design review, it was no charge and now it's 50? Am I reading this correctly?
No, conceptual consultation is no charge.
So no charge, oh, so then,
I should have brought
Yes.
rulers, I'm sorry.
If you look
No,
at the
that's right.
proposed amount, there's two columns. One is the fee amount, one is the proposed amount.
this is what I have to do. I'm getting my proposed and my
So
fees.
conceptual is no charge.
There we go. I'm all set now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right now, there is no design review. Proposed is $50.
Got it. And the fees, I'm never quite sure where the fees go when they're paid. If somebody comes in and needs a design review and they pay $50, that goes,
The general fund.
general fund. Okay. Got it.
All fees go to the general fund,
Except transfer station.
Right. except for the transfer station.
Oh, where's transfer station go?
The enterprise fund, the something fund.
Oh.
If you look in your town report, under, income, revenue, right there.
Oh, yeah. Enterprise fund.
On page 29, Beth.
Okay.
So here's the revenue here.
Yeah.
And the enterprise fund is over here.
Cool.
Thank you.
There was one question about, that came up today that I got emailed late, it didn't make it on here. And we're researching it about if the planning board gets a conditional use approval,
Oh, yeah.
to determine whether there's an RSA that says that has to be reviewed by legal. If it does, we will have to add something in here at some point about that.
Are you thinking a flat fee or a,
Well, we would, our attorneys charge by the hour.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether we just pick an hour for a 1 hour flat fee,
yeah,
or the thought was potentially any other administrative fees.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
yeah,
And make just a line here on the planning board, any other administrative fees or professional fees.
Yep.
Oh, professional fees.
Because if we have to hire an engineer, if the town feels, planning board feels they have to hire an engineer,
Yep.
that's not in here.
right,
It is in the site plan review,
Yep.
regulations. But if there's some other project that's happening
yeah,
that doesn't have a site plan review,
Yeah.
then we may, and the planning board or the zoning board or somebody says, well, we want to run this by an engineer or an attorney or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
DES or somebody, then we should have some place that says that there's some kind of, there may be a charge for professional services.
That sounds,
So that may be on the line at some point in the future.
And when might we know that that will be, at what point in the future do we know?
Depends on where it is in the stack of my to-do line.
Oh, there we go, okay.
yeah,
So at some point, conditional use review fee might be in here, that's what I was, okay. Thank you. All right.
any further discussion?
Well, these are all in keeping with what other ones are charging.
Yeah. All right, so I'll make a motion then that we accept these as our, what would they be, 2025
Fee schedule.
fee schedule.
Second,
All those in favor? Aye?
Aye. Do we need to say, with the possible addition of a conditional use review fee? That'll just come when it comes.
That was coming in the future.
Okay. Thank you. Jeez.
What do you want to do next? You thinking, Mr., yeah, Wyven Road? Yeah.
So there was an email sent by Mr. Messier, I think you guys all got it, asking for clarification and definition on why you said that Wyven Road is a private road. And he also asked for some kind of statement on access to Wyven Road. So to take it in two separate parts, I have research that was done and maps with deeds showing Wyven Road, the property that includes Mr. Messier's from 1783 to 1950. It shows that that was all one property.
I saw these, right?
I did too, so.
In 1950, or 1947, the Wyven Road was discontinued at town meeting. 41, okay, sorry, 41. In 1950, the property was subdivided. And it shows that, one of those maps shows the 1950 subdivision. And then in 1985, the property was again subdivided, and that map shows that. So it's clear from the maps and the research that when the road was discontinued, it was all one piece of property. And then in 1950, when it was discontinued, the property line that is on the property that is now owned by the Nashes, the property line on the western side of that property was the western boundary of Wyven Road, and there's a stone wall there. So that would pretty clear that that portion of Wyven Road went with that piece of property that Mr. Nash now owns.
And the color coding on these maps was done by Webb, correct?
Correct, well, we're start with the surveyor. So I think that is your, I guess, proof that Wyven Road is a private road and that Mr. Nash is the owner of that.
the whole thing,
That,
to the stone wall.
to the stone wall and to the boundary where his property ends,
So to where the
gate is now.
where the gate is now.
I think, and we can send, I can copy all this, scan it and send it to Mr. Messier as a statement saying this is how you determine that Nash owns Wyven Road. As far as the access to that property or to Wyven Road, that Mr. Nash has said he hasn't posted that, and that's a civil matter. That's not the town decide on who has access to somebody's property.
So we do that and we supply what he's looking for and we're done with it?
I hope so.
Yeah, okay, sounds good to me.
Just out of curiosity, so if Mr. Nash technically now owns that portion of Wyven Road, if the southern end took down that gate, could anybody travel, anyone on Wyven Road travel the entirety of Wyven Road?
If Mr. Nash doesn't object.
All right, anything further on? I think we've done, yeah.
That's it, you just respond to him with?
I will respond to that email with that information and we'll scan these and send them to him.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that brings us to Concord Regional Solid Waste Co-op meeting updates.
Yes, Beth and I attended that meeting. And there was a proposed budget and that got passed. No big changes in that. Probably the biggest topic of that meeting was the 40 acres that the co-op owns behind on Whitney Road. There's been a request for another extension on that piece of property, the proposal for that piece of property. And the co-op, after, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes of discussion, decided that they would, in the current proposal or the current agreement, the prospective buyer is paying the co-op $12,000 a month, $8,000 in principal, $4,000 in interest. The interest payments go into the co-ops, are what the co-op would keep if the deal fell through.
Yeah.
The principal would be returned, but if the deal goes through, that principal would be applied to the sale price of the property, which is $1.5 million. The co-op had the property reassessed this year, this past fall, and the reassessment was $1.54 million. So right in line with the proposed sale price. The co-op decided at this meeting to increase the, to go ahead and sign a 6-month extension on the proposal, but to increase the monthly payment to 50,000, was it, Beth?
Yeah.
Yeah, 50,000. That would hopefully get the.
And the interest stayed the same?
The interest stays the same, the principal would go up.
Yeah.
And that would hopefully encourage the people that are interested in the property to actually either buy it or say, no, we're not going to.
Is there any mention of what their interest is there?
Yeah, so they've proposed to build housing on that property. This was part of the whole big project that was gonna happen.
That was the one that came out on Sewell's Falls Road, or?
Well, that was part of the whole pushback of the city, was they wanted to go to Sewell's Falls Road, and the neighbors down there didn't want it. And the city said, well, maybe we can put a gate there for emergency services, and that's it, everybody else is gonna have to go out. But the council, the project would have had to have been approved, and the city council would have had to change zoning there, because it's all zoned commercial or industrial. So they would have to change it to include residential and multifamily. The council was hesitant to do that because the master plan isn't complete yet. And the master plan, they think it's gonna be another 2 years before the master plan is done. So this company decided that they would downsize to just this 40 acres and propose 200 units instead of the 980 something that was proposed earlier.
So access is from Merchant's Way or whatever?
Correct. Yeah.
Is the railroad on that, or is it off to the side of it?
No, it's off to the side. So,
But the other problem they had was that the company never has yet to make any,
correct, there was a representative from the city there, and they said that this company has not contacted the city with any plans, any asking for any plans, any variances,
no
nothing.
proposal to rezone or anything.
The only proposal they've brought forward is this reduced proposal for a housing, but not to any of the planning board or the zoning board or anything for a change in either variance or site plan reviews or anything like that. So the representative from Concord voted no on this. They felt that this has been going on since 2004.
It is a while.
Let me just look. I'm sorry.
I need to really understand why they're
Yeah.
showing out all this money every.
No, 2020, I'm sorry, it's been going on, the first payments were made in 2020. So it's been 4 years, going on 5 years.
Yeah.
The representative from Concord felt that was long enough. And the property was zoned industrial, and because we have a signed purchase and sales, the co-op cannot market it. So,
Interesting.
but
Maybe that's why.
the co-op did decide to move forward with this
Yeah.
and give this company 1 month to decide that.
Yeah.
And if they went along with it, fine. If they didn't, then the co-op is gonna not sign the agreement and then remarket it as industrial.
Yeah. Because that would, that'd be $600,000 a year principal.
Yeah.
So.
Right now, there is, the co-op has received, 145,000, I'm sorry, total received $417,000.
So they'd almost have it, if they agreed to this. They would have paid for it probably by the end of the year, or shortly thereafter.
But then did I really misunderstood? Because I thought if they walked on the deal that the co-op kept
Well,
the principal that
that's-
they paid in so far.
No,
Which doesn't
not
make
the principal,
sense.
just the interest.
Just the interest, I
Just the
know.
interest,
There was something else about the
Yeah.
principal, all right. It doesn't
Yep.
make sense that they,
right.
Got
it. And I think the total interest right now is, let's see, is yeah, I'm not sure what the breakdown is in interest.
It's gotta be around 100,000 a year, just rough math.
Well, they started off, when they first started off, the only payment was principal payments.
Okay.
They only went to interest payments in 2023.
Yeah.
And that started off as $2,000.
Okay.
And last July, we built it up to the co-op built it up to $4,000.
Yeah.
So there's only 44,000 in interest right now.
Yeah.
that they paid.
Yeah.
The rest is all principal.
44,000 is nothing to sneeze at either, but still.
And that's, yeah.
Look.
So that's what the co-op is doing on that part.
I'm sure more to follow.
Yes.
All right, that brings us to Penacook Rescue Squad, Merrimack County update.
So we met last Tuesday morning and met with the county, Penacook Rescue representatives from Boston, Canterbury, and Salisbury. And I think at at the end of the meeting, there was a lot discussed, how to divvy up the cost, whether we should population, call volume, the split that kind of rescue proposed was 65-35%, and ended up with the county agreeing that they felt that if we went with a population-based formula, that business manager felt that could be proposed to the county board of commissioners, and that had a chance of pushing through. So, if that is the case, based on 2025 proposed costs, and these are only proposed costs because they haven't gone to the towns yet. The county would be submitting just over $48,000. That's if the county agreed.
Right.
And if they didn't, that would change the other numbers.
Yeah.
So, but that's, at the end of the day, at the end of the meeting, that was pretty much the gist of that meeting.
Yeah.
So
Salisbury was still not happy.
Salisbury's still not happy. They are, and I understand, they're concerned because their call volume is a very small percentage of the total call volume, and they're being billed on population, and that's, they feel they're contributing more than what their fair share is. So,
That's how many people they have. We can't change that.
so.
It was kind of surprising that the county upped the number of beds.
Yeah, we had a number of 625 that we got from their website and their staff.
Yeah.
And then the business administrator said, no, it was 680, is that what you
40.
said? 640.
Yeah.
Interesting. 640, so,
It's like, oh, okay, well,
but
When might we know on the county if they're going to?
we're planning on meeting quarterly.
Yeah.
They understand that the towns are trying to get their budgets in,
Yeah.
as they are.
Yeah.
So it sounded to me like that the business administrator was going to put it on their agenda for the next meeting. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So as we move forward in the budget process, should we use the 185 figure or maybe something a little higher?
I would say we start with the 185.
Okay.
Because I think, looking at this, if you base it just on population,
Yeah.
our number is not going to change. It would be Bosquen and the county.
Okay.
But Canterbury and Salisbury shouldn't change because
Oh,
our
right.
population, because that's based on the total population,
Understood.
not,
Right.
so I think it would change Bosquen number.
Yep.
But not necessarily
I
ours.
understand. Yeah.
And again, these are preliminary figures.
Yep.
That Penacook Rescue has not sent out yet.
Yep. Understood.
And their figures, their actual figures for 2025 are considerably higher than this.
I think it's pretty generous of them to not. But I still don't understand where they're gonna make up the difference, but. I think we should write a big thank you note to Penacook Rescue somehow.
They have been subsidizing their operating costs from their capital reserve account that they set aside from what they get from billing.
Yeah.
So, in order to keep the town subsidies down.
Yeah.
But as Chief Bartel said, that is not sustainable.
And they disagreed about that.
Yeah. Yeah, his deputies certainly not in favor of doing that.
Sounds like a positive meeting.
I think it was. I think at the end of the day, it was a positive meeting. Yeah.
All right. Anything further on Penacook?
I don't think so.
Moving on, tuition reimbursement from former employee.
Let's go to court, no?
We are going to court.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sent you guys the notice from the court,
Why?
so he has requested a court hearing.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, did you see his
I
reasoning?
did see his reasoning, and we don't have anything, correct, in terms of complaints? Yeah.
And his resignation was prior to an accident that he refers to. So,
All right.
I don't know when that date's gonna be. I
Yeah.
don't know when the courts are.
Yeah.
My guess is it's gonna be somewhere far out in the future.
I wanted to spend just a couple minutes, I'm not sure if you're both aware, we did receive another RSA 91A complaint, the right to know law, from a person who complained to us and not to the state. So I think we're fortunate in that regard, but he cited a number of instances where we failed to comply with state law. So,
The town or one of the boards or what?
yes to all of the above. So we've just gotta do it, and we've gotta figure out a way to get our boards and committees to post their meeting notices and to post their draft minutes within the 5 days the law requires. Otherwise, we can be fined, and as we all remember, we paid attorney fees earlier this year for another complaint.
So we just need to post the draft minutes, correct?
You are correct, within 5 days.
And I thought the boards, at least that I've been sitting on, had been, no?
Nope.
It's been a combination of some technical problems with the website, with the current website. There were some technical problems with it where we couldn't access a couple of the committee's sections to add those, either agendas or minutes, and not getting them in a timely fashion or so on. Just things have. Our workload has increased to the point where, unfortunately, we at the office miss some things, and this is a result. We had been having secretaries have access to the website, and unfortunately, there was some technical errors or some technical problems with the website, and so in trying to get those fixed, and then all the other things that go on a day-to-day basis, it's things that, like I said, it's a combination of boards, committees, and the staff at the town office. So,
And time or lack thereof.
in time, right, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And we're gonna do our best. I spoke to the individual today on the phone and let them know that if they were looking for any information and it wasn't on our website, it wasn't available, to please let us know as soon as possible, and we would do our best to get it in a timely fashion. We would make corrections as needed. But we will certainly try to step up and work on this and try to get it taken care of.
And that kind of leads us to a website discussion, so I can't remember now, but boards should be able to post their own minutes, correct? So that would take some of the onus off the office staff, correct?
On the new website.
Right, on the new website.
And when might we be able to start doing that? Do we have any sense yet?
I just met with the company today, so to try to work out timelines. So we are going to try to get the password protection off of it at the end of this week, and then have the official .gov or .org to .gov redirect January 6th.
Great.
So
So at that time?
So at that time, so as soon as the admin password is taken off, I can start training people and making accounts and doing all that. And then the .gov redirect is when it's officially live and the old one is gone.
And then at that time, I'm assuming we'd have to do some kind of, you know,
Well, that's what I
training
said.
for all the boards to.
Once the admin thing is off, then I can do training. I'm gonna prioritize Michelle, Jan,
Yeah.
myself, Sam, and Ken, because Michelle and Jan have been interfacing with a lot of the boards, and so they would be able to do a lot of that. And then I'm gonna go to each of the boards and say, give me a person to train. Some of the boards are less enthusiastic about it than others, but
Perhaps the same boards that don't still like using a unified email.
I'm not gonna comment on.
Well, it's another thing to do, so I can see why that would be, but.
And we're
Okay.
trying not to single out or embarrass anyone.
No, not at all. I'm just saying it's hard enough that I would, anyway.
Yeah,
doesn't
there's been a lot of technical changes this year, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's been hard.
Right, and I drafted an email that went out to all boards and committees, just reminding them of their legal obligation. And there really are no excuses under 91A. We just gotta do it.
Does are all boards aware of what actual posting means? Like, if you can't do it on the website, is it sufficient to have it, town offices, blah, 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 blah? Can we have does everybody need a refresher course, how to post?
Well, we spent a ton of money this year on attorney fees advising all our boards and committees of their obligations under 91A.
Yes, but I mean, for people who's, that's already in the distant past and don't remember, is there a way to do how to post ABCs? Here's your 4 steps. You gotta do your minutes 5 days, put them on the website, at the town offices, at the whatever. Is that worth it? Should people already know that?
I mean, if somebody else does the work to get all the secretaries in one room, I will train them on the website and on Right to Know all at the same time. But just getting all those people in the same room, I don't have time for that.
No. I'm thinking even simpler than that. Can we do between now and then, are there 4 steps for now and when you can train anybody to do it on the website? Is there a way?
That's like a week. I'm
Okay.
talking, it's, yeah,
Alright.
it's gonna be, we're like 2 weeks away from the new website coming out.
Okay. Then forget everything I just said.
Okay, done, it's done.
It sounds like we should almost be reminding everybody once a year or after town election that these requirements are
Not ours.
not ours, and
Yeah.
we're not gonna accept anything but yes.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's something that I can put together for all the boards and committees right after town meeting, because they might have new chairs or whatever,
Yep, and new secretaries and.
something like that. I'll
Well,
put that on my.
And I think that would be a really good thing to put out, to remind everybody the same thing, because I really want to get the code of conduct, which is not just a code of conduct, it's more like a how to be on a board, how to be responsible on your board in town.
Yeah.
Is what it basically is, and that would be part of it. I think.
Yeah.
And after town meeting might be a good time to remind everybody.
Because there will be changes, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ken, that you can think of on that?
So that's, the question I had on website update. Yay!
There you go.
I have one more thing. Unless
Go
there's
ahead.
anything
Yeah,
else.
Nope.
This is kind of old business, but I was wondering if in the interim, while I know the solid waste committee has been focused on their survey and looking ahead to investigating a new transfer station, it seems like we've got a big paper recycling issue, and can we harness their energies to look and see what else is available out there as far as that? And I mean, if you go online and look, there seems to be places that are recycling paper in New Hampshire, so I don't know what kind of legwork it takes to see if they deal with a town and what the deal might be.
Well, didn't we have some company we were using to do things like that?
So we contract with Northeast Regional Resource.
Yep.
and they are a clearinghouse for vendors,
Right.
and they contact them and they give us a list of vendors.
Yeah.
I got an email Friday from a resident that said, hey, I was looking online, I know we're having trouble with the paper, but I was looking online, and I found a place out in Lebanon or Claremont that is doing this. Did you guys check into that?
No.
So I forwarded that to the transfer station manager
Mm-hmm.
and asked him to look into it
Yep.
to see and to question NRRA whether they had done any recent searches and updated their vendor list.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Oh, so if you said you forward that to the transfer station manager, and that should be enough to activate a process to. He's on the solid waste.
part of his job.
It's his job.
Okay.
He's the one who contacts, goes to NRA when, like John said, they shipped out cardboard and plastic. He's the one who sets all that up.
The cardboard people take.
It's kind of got to be that way too, I think. 'Cause he's the one that's going to be.
He knows when.
Yeah, no, that's
when
good.
they
Then because if you do any kind of quick online search, there seem to be people that say they are still doing it. So I don't know why Northeast Regional either doesn't deal with them or we can't direct. So yeah, if Dave's looking into that, that's great. Can we when might we get a report from him on that? Can we ask for one?
I asked him to look into it and get back to me.
Okay.
All right,
Done?
anything further?
I move. We adjourn.
You set?
Did we have anything else to talk to about retirement stuff? We did healthcare, but wasn't there a retirement component to that as well? Or,
Mary and I are working on retirement right now. I'll probably have a better report at the next meeting.
okay,
There's been some changes, so I'll have a better report. I'm not ready to do that today.
okay. Then I'm done.
All right, I'll second that motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.